Hey friends and fellow painters, Chris Maholka here. Today we're going to be mixing a series of blues that could be used on patterns like bait fish, blueback herring, a lot of saltwater lures. It could also be used in your acrylic paintings for things like skies and going into the darker colors like in sunsets. We're going to be using basic cyan. We're using a little bit of white, a little bit of magenta, and a little bit of black. And then at the end we'll throw in maybe a little iridescent white as well. If you haven't watched my #1 video on mixing paint, you'll want to do that because it shows you the techniques of why I am doing what I'm doing. So refer to that for the mixing techniques and the how-tos and the why-fors, and let's get started mixing these blues. In the video about green, I showed you how to mix a basic green and then divide it. We're going to do something a little different here with cyan. Since cyan is fairly light, we're going to start with 3 small amounts of cyan, just the basic color. Just as for showing you what can be done, we'll start with the primary here. So we've got our 3 little pools of cyan now. We're going to make this one lighter. And this is one of the few times I will mix a color lighter. You could put a lot of white down and put a little cyan in it, and it gives you a lighter shade, but it doesn't take very much titanium white to make cyan go to a light shade. So we'll put some titanium white in there. We'll give it a stir, and we'll watch that shade drop down to a real pale blue. Okay, there's a light blue, just done with the cyan and a little bit of white. Now, the medium blue, you could use it this way, but since we've got it out here, I'm going to show you how to alter it some. We're going to take it down to a very slightly darker blue. You do this by adding a little bit of black, and you have to be careful because black can really be overwhelming sometimes, and instead of just darkening it, it can make it a muddy shade. So we're just going to put a little bit of black in that. We'll mix that up. This will darken the blue down significantly, and again, that was just a very slight touch of black, and this is going to make it kind of a navy-ish blue. Again, with just that little bit of black, you can see the difference between the base color and the little bit of black we put in it. And we'll go with that. That's where we are so far. Light blue, kind of a navy-ish blue. This pile over here, we're going to make that into a violet, which could also be used on a lot of different bait fish patterns and used a lot. And we're just going to add a little magenta to this. And when we mix that, you'll see that start to go to the violet shade. We may even want to go stronger on this, just as an example, so you can see it well on camera. Yeah, let's put a little bit more in there just so it shows up well. Really make it a purple. That's getting better. We're going to take it farther. And this is one of the things about mixing your own, is you can decide how much of a shade you want, where you stop, where you keep going. And if you mess it up, mix black into it, make it a dark color, and you can always use black. There, that's coming up at a better purple now. Okay, there is your pale blue your kind of navyish blue, could be a little darker, and violet, all out of your basic cyan. Now, if you're painting backs on fish, scale patterns on fish, you might want to have some of this color violet. You might want to darken it up, make it a little flashier for your overspray. Use it for things like detail and trim. So we're going to put a fairly good shot of black in this one into the violet, and we're also going to add some iridescent medium to this, because a lot of times on the detailing and the overspray you like to have some sparkle in it. Now, titanium white, reason it's titanium white, the titanium basically is a very dense opaque white, so it will change the color a lot. This transparent medium, or this iridescent medium, is more of a transparent shade, so it doesn't overwhelm and make your colors a lot lighter, but it does give them the sparkle. So by mixing the transparent, or the iridescent in with the black, once that black starts coming out, you get a darker shade that sparkles for your overspray. And there we go. Now again, when they're wet, they look lighter. They don't look as saturated as when they dry. But we've made our light blue out of our cyan and white, our medium blue, cyan, a little bit of black, and our violet, our light violet, with cyan and magenta. And then we took it to this darker shade by adding some black, and then also adding some iridescent medium. So that would be a nice overspray of scales over this or any of these colors. So that's kind of your basic starter on mixing blues. Next up will probably be the orange range for doing crawdads. So stay tuned for that video. Thanks for watching.